So I'll start again. Good evening, everyone. My name is Reynolds. Most people on ADU call me Ray. We're here to continue the training that started yesterday. And I would like to introduce to you our trainer for tonight. Our trainer for tonight is, she's no stranger to ADO if you have been with us for a long time. I'd like to say a couple of things or read a bit of her profile to you before I hand over the evening to her and then come back sometime later. So for tonight, our trainer is no other person than our very own director for training, Dr. Anumpa Sethi. Dr. Anumpa Sethi is the founder of Empower Kids, a multidisciplinary learning program and initiative for children to achieve, enhance, and empower, as well as optimize their learning. Dr. Anumpa has a doctorate in learning disability from the University of Delhi, where, actually, she's in India right away, right about now. And I'm sure she will tell you a bit about India before she continues. She is a certified SOI systems practitioner under the SOI Systems Oregon, USA. And presently, she's pursuing educational therapy certification from the University of Santa Cruz. Anumpa has extensive experience as an SOI systems cognitive skills trainer and an Orton-Gillingham reading therapist, licensed coach for the listening program from the Advanced Brain Technology. She also has a certification in Brain Gym 101 for mind and body coordination. She has been working with kids and children with learning disability and ADHD for over 20 years and has experimented with research-based new developments in the area of education and the science of teaching. Her philosophy of education engages the belief that everyone has the inherent capacity to be what they want to be when they are provided with opportunity to learn in the manner best suited for their individual strengths. What we need is a new paradigm shift in education where all means all. That is exactly what she always usually say, where we nourish the belief that all persons have the value and all persons, children, can actually learn. Dr. Anumpa, thank you very much. Tonight, we are in your hands. And whilst Dr. Anumpa is presenting to us, in fact, you can go into the chat box and tell us where you are from, where you are listening to the training from tonight. And in case you have any question, you can also put it into the chat box in the meantime. But after her training, we'll take some questions from all of us. Kindly also note that we are recording the session for tonight. And in case or when the room gets full, anyone that wishes to join can actually watch us on YouTube. I'll share the YouTube link in the chat box for you to share with your friends and colleagues as well. Dr. Anumpa, the evening is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ray. And just to get an idea, how much time do I have for this presentation? You are muted, Ray.
It's about 6:30. Oh, sorry, I forgot we are in different time zones actually. But okay, so let's see that you are the director of training. I'll be partial here a little bit. I'll give you about an hour and a half.
Okay, I think I have, that will be so, yeah, so hour and a half or so. Okay, so thank you so much, Reynolds, for this warm introduction. And I see that the number of participants is increasing and in this group. So I hope all the participants had a good time yesterday listening to the last discussion about the intervention strategies on literacy development in children with learning disabilities. And as we all know that the children with learning differences have their challenges in math also. And we have covered that topic of what kind of challenges do the kids have in learning differences in the area of mathematics. And before I start my presentation, I want to make a uh, a small. Right now, I'm in India, in New Delhi, and it's around. It's past midnight right now. I am sitting here in my parents' place, and though I am based in California, but right now I'm visiting my parents here, and yeah, I have to. I and before I start that, I want to admit that I am not very good with number system, math system as such, because I struggled myself as a student in elementary grades with math. I can relate with a lot of kids who struggle. My challenge was never identified as a learning difficulty or in reading or writing or math or attention deficit, but as I'm growing older and as I have entered and in this profession by choice, I think I may have had some issues related to attention and impulsivity without the hyperactivity myself. And because of that, I may have struggled in the areas of math. I learned to read and write really well, but my math was always a challenge. So, yeah, so I will begin my presentation. I will share my screen and I am going to open my presentation, get it here. Yeah. So can you all see my screen? Is my screen
Yes, we can.
visible? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So today my focus is on intervention strategies for specific learning disability in math, which is also known as dyscalculia. And I would not go into the details of the signs and symptoms of what are the struggles of children with learning disabilities in math, but I would start with my intervention strategies directly. And I want to add on another point here that these strategies, what I'm going to talk and share today, are not only good, helpful for children with learning disabilities, but if used in the general classroom situations, are going to help out all the students, irrespective of their abilities and skill sets. Children who are doing well in classroom, they will enrich their abilities and learning skills. The children who are doing average, they will also get stimulation, but the children who are struggling because of any unidentified identified learning disorders, they will be the maximum benefit, like huge beneficiaries. A huge amount of significance will be for those children. But all these strategies today, what I'm going to discuss, are helpful for all the children, especially in the elementary, lower elementary grades. And I want to share interesting part that dyscalculia or the learning differences in math is not a sign of low intelligence. It is not a sign of lack of effort. And again, it is not the same and not as same as math anxiety. It can lead to math anxiety, but there is a difference between having a math anxiety or having a learning disorder, disability, because learning disability comes from a different background, different reasons, but it can lead to math anxiety. But we don't have to confuse between these two terms, having math learning disability or math anxiety. Math anxiety could be transferred from a teacher or a parent to the student also. They may not have learning disability, but they are anxious about the numbers because it gets transferred from the family or from the teacher or from any other student also.
Hi, Dr. Sethi. Is
Yeah.
it possible you could put your slides into the slideshow mode
Okay.
so that
Let me do that. Yeah.
it will show bigger to everyone?
Okay. Is it
Thank
better?
you. Thank you. Way better.
Okay. Okay. So let me begin here. Intervention strategies for dyscalculia. And I am going to start with from the pre-math aspect. So before we go there, my experience of working with children over the past 20 years or so, I have found one model which uses the concrete, representational, and abstract approach of teaching math, starting from the pre-math skills to the higher order of math concepts. This approach, usually called goes by the acronym CRA, concrete, representational, and abstract. 3 steps, starting with the concrete manipulatives, objects from real life situations. And we don't have to be very specific of having fancy math kits or math resources. These can be created at a low cost from with the support of teachers. And I want to add on one point here, that my intention of this whole presentation for math is to equip the teachers in the inclusive environments with the information where they can come up with their own strategies and resources and pull in their skill sets, so that once this effort is done in any school, they can keep on adding it to their resources. Like first grade teachers are creating something, second grade teachers are creating something, and then once we can create those kits to be used and reused again and again over a period of time. And any of the teachers don't have to work on every year to start from scratch. Okay, now I am starting it again, the first grade session, so, or the kindergarten session, I need new resources. No, if we are making some things with the the worksheets or the boards and flashcards, those all can be laminated. We are using some resources like concrete objects like beads, strings, and any of those matters which I'll show you can be stored or kept them safely. We can keep them in the form of kits as per the organization of the pre-math skills and all those things, and used by as shared resource to keep our costing low. And maybe Ray and Roslyn, I have a request. If on the basis of today's presentation, if there are some teachers who feel interested in this kind of a project, we can build a core team to create local math resources from the low cost uh, materials from within the community in Ghana or Africa as such, so that it can become a ADO's project, which can take a year to 2 years time to train the teachers to create these kits, and we can publish those kits or train the other teachers based on this project. So you will find a lot of hands-on material and strategies in this whole discussion today, what I'm going to have. So this model, the concrete representational instructional abstract model, is based on the multisensory. It comes into automatically as we start. There are different names. I don't want to go into the technical jargon language for all these things. So concrete means hands-on, which the tangible resources. Representational, we gradually move to transition on the representing of these manipulatives on the pencil, on the worksheets. And then gradually these representation on the worksheet takes the shape of the numerals and the transferring of information or the data from the representational stage to the abstract level of numeracy, number concepts, and the operation signs, and further on. So has its so this model or approach, the concrete, representational, and abstract approach, has the basis on in Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive skill development, or the development theory of Jean Piaget. Okay, so I'm going to start with this skill. I'm not going to the number concept addition right now. I am starting with the essential math skills, which go or as pre-math skills or the math readiness skills. Essentially, the preschool stage is the stage where the kids, or even before that, as toddler kids, are learning all these things, but we don't see that development or we can't measure that, but kids are like sponges at that age and always. So these skills we cannot quantify at that time, but typically from 3.5 years onwards, in a regular situation, we can club these capabilities or the skill sets, pre-math skills, as classification skills. That classification can be on the basis of colors, shape, size, and whatnot. Ordering and seriation, succession and sequencing, one-to-one correspondence, spatial and temporal orientations, and problem-solving skills. So I have a video to share here. This video shows how a 6-year-old child is struggling with math concepts. Let me know if I need to increase the volume.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. As you know, I am the LD educator. I am a special education teacher, and my goal is to share hope and to dispel myths about special education and those with learning disabilities. So we've been doing a little series on the different types of common learning disabilities. And today we are talking dyscalculia. Yeah, that's right. I know it's a tongue twister, but dyscalculia is a specific learning disability in the area of math. I also have a simulation tool that I want to share with you guys, and it is awesome. I will drop a link below so that you can go and check that out. Matter of fact, I encourage every special education teacher, every general education teacher, and even your parents to experience this, because we need to see and we need to be able to experience what our students experience on a daily basis sitting in our classroom. And when we're better able to understand, develop a whole. And so make sure you also share it with your peers. Okay, so before we get started, I would like to thank all of the teachers, any of my upcoming video math related tasks. It's not as well known or as understood as dyslexia, but some experts believe it occurs just as often. It goes by many different names. Some schools may refer to it as a mathematical learning disability. You may hear a doctor refer to it as a mathematics disorder. Still yet, some parents and some kids call it dyslexia math, which really doesn't make sense because dyslexia and dyscalculia are two different things. So stay away from that term because we don't want to confuse people. There's enough confusion out there already. So people who have dyscalculia generally have poor number sense and they struggle with working memory. Now, for the sake of this video, I decided to put the signs and symptoms in the description box below because I really want to jump ahead to the assimilation because I think it's such a cool tool. And I know for some of you, you think just going through those slides are boring. So for those of you who need to see that, please look down in the description box below, and we're going to jump right into the assimilation. Okay, so here we are. Just to kind of let you guys know, this is a website that I absolutely love. It is called www.understood.org. So hopefully you are very interested in doing this simulation for yourself, sharing it with general education teachers as well as your parents. I will make sure I put a link down below so that it will take you directly to it. So it's called Through Your Child's Eyes. And that's because they really want you to be able to experience this as if you were a child with a learning disability. Now, they actually have simulations for reading issues, writing issues, as well as attention issues, math issues, and organization issues. Now, I eventually might do a video for each one of these, but right now we're gonna go ahead on and focus only on the math. And we can either click on the math right here and go straight to it, or we can click here on experience it, and what they would want you to do is to, let's click on it. All right, here we go. It will allow you to personalize it. So if you teach an elementary, second grade, you can click on second grade. I think I am gonna do sixth grade, okay? And then it asks you what issues your child is having, or what particular area. So for the sake of this video, we're gonna do the math issues. Now, let me just go ahead and let you know, when I click on this, it's actually gonna give me a video of a child telling her story. After that, then it's gonna take the experience issues.
And it's like, and it's like, what are numbers? A lot of times I get the signs mixed up. I don't know what they're called. My brain is going here to there, to there, to there, to there, to there. And it's just so crazy that I just want to scream. My stomach starts to hurt. I start to think the worst things about me. It's so overwhelming and stressful that it's hard to even think.
And we're gonna get started. It says exact change. Click on coins to play for goodies. When you have the exact change, hit buy. Ready? Start. All right, so this is an apple, 7 cents. I'm gonna click on 5. Wait a minute. Oh, hold on. Let's see. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so up here. So 10 cents is 13 cents. 5 cents is, okay, so it's a quarter. Hold on. I missed a little key thingy. All right. Bye. No? Okay, there we go. All right, so 42 cents. 42 cents. Okay. So I guess we're gonna do a nickel. So that's 34 plus, let's see, what does 7 give us? That's too much. Hold on, what happened? Okay, 13 cents. No, that's 40. So, okay, hold on. Let's go. I'm confused. Okay, 29 cents. Plus, yay, that's it. Oh, this is so crazy. So I think I'm gonna start with this big. Now I need something that says 10. Do I want to try again? No, I don't want to do that one again.
So my guess is that activity was pretty frustrating for you. And that's just how children with math issues feel every time they're stuck on a math problem. But there's lots of different reasons why they might get stuck. One is that they might have difficulty retrieving math facts. So if a child doesn't remember that 5 times 4 is 20, they have to solve the problem every single time they see it, and that can be frustrating. Another reason might be that they have difficulty remembering the steps and all the procedures they have to follow, or maybe they remember them but just have difficulty keeping track of where they're at and what they're doing. So add on top of that, that the children might be feeling stressed out because they know they're not good at math, or they believe they're not good at math, and that stress adds to their difficulty and can make the problem solving even harder.
Absolutely.
So our job is to find what strategies fit what child. Does a child need practice learning math facts?
So let's go ahead on
Do they
and
need
skip.
support?
And so thank you for experiencing through your child's eyes. So wasn't that really cool? Now, if you could have really.
Okay, I will go back to my presentation. And how do I go there? Now this is pause share. No, okay, I have to go back. Where is my presentation? Now I am. Give me a moment, please. I am a little, how do I can start. I am going to share my screen one more time with you. Okay, share it here, and here. This is how does this? Okay, here. Yeah, so I'm going to put it on this slide, this mode again. Yeah. So, yeah. So this was, again, I go to now for our math readiness skills. As we started that, what concrete materials can we use? Blocks, unicubes, any multicolored beads or buttons, tiles. some wires, flexi wires or pipe cleaners, ice cream sticks, number sticks, counters, plastic counters, metal counters, coins, pebbles, geometrical shapes available or from in the plastics or may be made from the cardboards, and colored pencils, crayons, clays, Legos, marbles, and all those things. So geoboards, what are the other material? Geoboards, tangrams. Tangrams is a 7-piece Chinese puzzle available. It is they use 7 pieces. It's really important, helpful in the geometrical, three-dimensional spatial orientations, puzzles, lacing boards and activities, small beads, representational and pictorial materials like numbers and the object flashcards, picture cards, worksheets of different objects from daily life. And here are this didax.com math virtual manipulators are really, really helpful. This reference is from Jodo Gyan, which is Jodo Gyan is a Hindi word from India, and it's an organization which creates helpful math kits, low cost tips, and they have recently started working and training the teachers from virtually also. So I added this reference from a perspective if I can explore that opportunity with them, if they are available to take on some trainings with our teachers. But in case to get ideas, our teachers can have a look at their kits available so that we can come up with our own resources also. So Rosalind, this is a very good resource for us to explore and create low cost teaching material in the area of math. So, and the first activity which I'm planning to start here is in the area of classification. And what is classification? Classification is organizing any object or anything in as a one particular group and then sorting them out. It could be grouping, like, for example, all the triangles one side, all the squares one side, all the red triangle. As if we start keep on adding the complexities, we can ask the children to sort out all the red triangles, all the yellow circles, or all the small red colored triangles, or all the big yellow squares, or all the green medium-sized rectangles. So based on the criteria and the complex, the starting from simple to complex, these activities can grow complex and complex. And here we are not teaching math as such, but we are just preparing the kids to organizing and classifying the things based on 1 parameter, 2 parameter, or 3 parameters. And then shape sorting boxes with shape cutouts and puzzles. So I have given a lot of references where we can see all these activities so that we are getting practical hand-on ideas for how to create these. I'm going to show you some pictures of the objects like wooden cutout of shapes, stringing beads, the buttons from the shirts, color sorting activities for toddlers. And there, this kid is using the ice cream sticks with color-coded stickers on them. And the geoboard activities is really good for the building three-dimensional thought process and geometry skills. And these are again some more examples of classification and sorting. And the classification and sorting can be done in our regular classroom situations with the human beings and the movements, including the movements in our classroom structure as such. For example, if we ask all the children to get up and then make groups of a big group of all the kids who have or half sleeve shirts on, all the kids who have got red colored shirt on, or if they're in a uniform, how many of the kids are wearing shorts, they can make one group. How many kids are wearing the straight trousers? How many kids are wearing a sweater? How many kids are wearing a jacket? How many kids have short hair? Grouping them in boys and girls. So all these are the activities of classification and sorting. And these examples on my screen are the representational level. So we have moved from the concrete to the representational level here. and sorting at representational the stage with the worksheets. Big jar, small jar. These are again all the examples of classification and sorting. Now we come on to the seriation and ordering. What is seriation and ordering? Seriation and ordering is how we arrange the things in one particular sequence, tallest to shortest, thickest to thinnest, smallest to biggest, highest to lowest, with different shades and grades in that. We can start as simple as 3 steps, 4 steps, 5 steps, and to increase the complexity of how the children are progressing on that part. For example, you see the leaves starting from dark color to the light color, kite color from in different colors. So this is the way we can have the kids practice on seriation and ordering skills. Like these unicubes are there, arranging them from smallest to the tallest, shortest to the tallest. So, and these unicubes can be broken down in different pieces. Right now we are using one color for each of these towers. We can break them up, mix and match, use these cubes for the similar cubes for groupings according to the colors and counting also. So now we are doing the concrete, those I shared the pictures with you. Now I'm just sharing some ideas and statements, arranging concrete objects like beads and cubes and Legos, building blocks, number rods in a particular order or a shape or a color, like stringing beads of 2 reds or 2 green, creating bracelets and necklaces with colored beads and shapes and sizes. These activities develop counting sense through fun and a playful engagement, creating towers and buildings of Legos and blocks. Simple 3-step story sequence card to help the kids pictorial spelling. What happened, like what they do in their daily life in the morning. I woke up, brushed my teeth, took a shower, had my breakfast, and then went to the school. So these are the 3-4 different steps. So, or what are the steps in cooking at home, or what are the steps in of a story or a life cycle of a butterfly, or a life cycle of a human being. The baby is born, then a baby is a little bigger, then a little bigger, and then an adult. So different story sequences, giving them short stories in the picture form and arranging them. What happened before that? What happened in the middle? What happened at the end? How are the characters related? And math, in my opinion, is a language, another form of language. Numbers, language, and the representation of numbers. So we are trying to build the vocabulary of math and the understanding of the math concept. So again, now we are going on to, let me see. Okay. Yep. So we are here. So concrete, we are at the stage of concrete sequential thinking and patterning. So concrete sequential thinking is different than the in the seriation. Seriation is arranging the things in one particular order, from going from one specific tallest to shortest. But sequential thinking is different than the sequential thinking can be like when we create the patterns, beads and necklaces. So we are, and this is a part of visual perceptual skills. And then we are adding the complexity of eye-hand motor coordination skills when the kids are using the lacing activities and the beading activities. And the examples I can show you here are like these. These are the picture cards, like a butterfly and a flower of again a flower, different kind flower, a butterfly. Then what will be the next object in the sequence or in that arrangement? 2 bananas, grapes, 2 bananas, and what will be the next thing? So we can create these kind of objects and resources and materials in our classrooms, and teachers can keep them laminated to be used over and over again. Now, again, beading patterns. And we have these patterns of bears, so the kids can put the same colored objects on them with concrete material or at the representational level also. So this is building the one-to-one correspondence also, as well as the patterning activity, as well as the eye-hand motor coordination skills. And in the picture on the right side, we see there are pipe cleaners, and the teachers have made those cards which are laminated and with colored yellow and green, blue and red. The kids are using the pipe cleaners to arrange these beads in the pattern shown to them on these cards. Now next an activity or the skill set is one-to-one correspondence. So what exactly is one-to-one correspondence? One-to-one correspondence is a skill or the ability where we have to generalize that number one means number one. It can be an apple, it can be a pencil, it can be a ball, it is one notebook. So the kids have to learn that one number one or the quantity one can be anything. It is not just restricting to one matchbox or an apple, or for the example, A is not standing for only the apple. So that's why number one is not associated with just one object. It is one object. It can be apple, orange, banana, or a human being, a plant, or a rose, or a tree, or a leaf. So all these things have are a part of one-to-one correspondence. So copying the patterns of concrete objects like bead. Let me show you the examples here. For example, yes, when these teddy bears, there are dots, kids have to place one teddy bear on each of these spots so that they associate that one human being can take a position at one in a line. So we don't have to make the places overcrowded. One-to-one correspondence. If there is one chair, only one person can sit on that chair. If there are two chairs, two people can sit. If there is one apple and we have allocated one person to eat one apple, only one person can eat that. Like again, this is a 10 frame board where they have kept the some object Coke can caps. So in each square, there is only one of these. So sometimes kids might might face it challenging to put one. If you give them instruction, put one of these Coke cans in each of these boxes. So they might not understand what's going on. So we have to work with them in one square, one counter, one square, one counter. And I hope I am audible and I hope it's making sense to the teachers there. You can pause me anytime if there is some issue or if we are not understanding, if I'm going too fast or too slow. Are we all right? Here again, one-to-one correspondence. Yeah. Are we going?
We're good. It's good.
Yeah, okay, great. So now, then we go on to the spatial and temporal orientation. Now, what is spatial and temporal orientation skill? Matching the left and just to give how is child or any human being aware of his own body, his own understanding of his own body in space. For sometimes the kids with spatial orientation and temporal orientation have a directionality issue. They might not have the understanding of the concept of discriminating from left side to the right side. They can't have that part like very clear that crossing the midline, midline movements. If so, I can share that the directions, left and right directions, confusion in that part. Like, and this is important to understand the depth perception. How far is the ball from me, or how far is that other person standing in front of me? How many steps do I have to go up or down? So what place is farther than this place? What place is closer to my, do I live very close to my school or do I live far away? So depth, time, direction are all falling into the category of spatial and temporal orientation. If the kids have challenges in spatial orientation skills, they will always have some challenges in in the geometry aspect. The geometry, when we go, geometry classes will be a challenging for them. So we have to start early on building these concepts in our young children by working on matching the left and right hand and the feet impressions. I will show you an example here. For example, in this picture, this kid is walking on the left and right feet impressions. And on the right hand side, you see a picture of all these arrows going on. So the child has to tell me, looking at this, I can create some of my charts and show that whole chart with the mixed directions of arrows to the child, that which direction is the first arrow there. It's on left, up, right, down, whatever is the direction of that arrow in that whole chart is helpful for the kids uh, to improve their directionality confusion. And I would like to add another thing. If a kid is a left-hander and by natural growth and development, he is or she is using the left hand more in their daily living things and school related things, we should not be stopping them by using their left hands. So because if we try to stop that and make the child go to do most of his things with or her things with right hand, it messes up with the brain system and creates more directionality and spatial orientation confusion there. So yeah, so in this, matching the left and right feet, right hands, and in the worksheet next to it, it shows the child has to identify circle the right foot, circle the left foot, circle the left leaf. So we are trying to give as much practice to the children on the directionality issue and the spatial orientation also. For example, spatial orientation, we can show these kids the worksheets with or puzzles where the kids have to match the bodies of the animals with their corresponding heads, or missing flower from a flower pot, or a missing flower from a plant or a tree near our home, that which plant goes with which flower. Right. And again, temporal concepts out of these buckets, which bucket is going to be filled up faster or slower? Who will be coming down first out of the two kids shown on the tree? They are coming down. So which one logically will reach downstairs? Under the tree there. So concept of over and under. What is lying on the table or over the table? Where is the ball lying? Under the table. So all those things are very, very important. I'm touching on these things very briefly so that so that our teachers are getting decent enough idea to start off what they want to do in their classrooms in an inclusive environment. So Tangram activities, there are, as I shared, there are 7 pieces, triangular pieces available in different formats, in different boxes where we have, and it comes with a booklet of designs, which the children have to create out of those 7 blocks. Now, processing skills, I'm going to cover a little bit beyond the pre-math skills. So, because those are very important things in math, because visual processing skill is one skill where the children are identifying the missing part of the whole from the whole, and then how does that correlate? We have to match the missing parts from the whole picture. So I've added a lot of samples here. Let me see if I kept something to show you. Yes, find the missing part from this puzzle. You have given them a little bit of hint from all the other places or all the boxes. The child has to just pick up the right match to put into this butterfly picture. And again, there is a time where I can get some puzzles, 3-dimensional puzzles, and Rubik cube is one of the good example for the older children to be building their spatial orientation and temporal skills. What's the missing part? Part to whole relationship. This dog has a missing tail, this cup has a missing uh, handle, and this bike also has a missing wheel, and this all these things are missing out. So this is helping the children to build their uh, concept of completing the whole pictures, what's missing out. And this is one of the important skills which children at times will have understanding of this part. What do you say? That missing numbers, when they have to arrange the numbers in a sequential order, what comes in between? What part is missing from this whole equation, balancing the equations? Now spot the difference. What is the difference between these two pictures on the left-hand side? The butterfly doesn't have the dots. The sun doesn't have the rays. So these are all visual processing challenges and activities what I'm sharing with you here now. So how is the weather? So in this part also, how are the two things different? Okay, now for the spatial and temporal organization, this activities, the child has to draw the other half of the flower here. Symmetry, finding the matching part as in the columns on the left hand side. Now we go on to the auditory and the listening skills. Listening skills, so the kids have to have good auditory skills, how to follow the instructions and how many steps in a problems are there. If the kids don't have good auditory processing skills or the listening skills, they will always have the challenge, what did the teacher tell them? What is their homework? So how can we improve these skills? Listening to small 3-step stories or events, repeating the steps or events in the stories, engaging the children in their stories, asking them basic questions from the stories about the main characters, main ideas of the story, asking them to repeat the story in their own words, listening to the stories and answering what, why, and when and where and how questions related to the story. This is how we are going to build their vocabulary for math and overall language development. Listening to the stories and rhymes after finishing them. Now we go on. I hope I'm making sense. Ray and Rosalind, I hope all the activities and what I'm discussing is making sense for all of us. Now we go on to the part of the number concepts or the numeracy skills. So what all do we cover under this part? Counting. So recognizing the number symbols, greater than, less than, number bonds, place values, number sequencing, ascending and descending orders of the numbers. So now we are reaching the number. So you must have observed that why can't we start directly from the number concept of teaching the number concept to children as they enter the kindergarten or at the earliest possibility of the stage. But as we were talking about the pre-math or the math readiness skills, we have to understand fully that children will automatically learn the number concept and the operation if their basic fundamentals are clear, which will develop only using pre-math concept or pre-math or the math readiness skills, because once that all is the foundation, that's the foundation for all the math. If the foundation is strong, it will be easier for the kids to build on the higher story, higher order thought processes, higher level of the concepts of math. So we'll go on to counting, recognizing number symbols, greater than, less than, number bonds, place values, number sequencing, and ascending and descending orders. So what materials are we using? We are using, again, most of the concrete materials like beads. We have already discussed about this part. Number sticks, number rods, shapes of different colors and sizes, number symbols we will need maybe in the wooden or the plastic pieces, or the magnetic pieces are also available. number and the object flashcards. Here is the representational stage for teaching the pre-math skills is setting in. That the number flashcards, unique cubes, base 10 blocks, number grid, and worksheets. How do we do that now? Counting the beads, tiles, counters, base 10 blocks of different shapes and sizes, counting and collecting the beads from big pool of concrete materials, what we have in our rooms, counting and putting beads on the abacus rods. Let me show you the abacus rod here. Yes. So if you see this green and blue combination, abacus is one such tool which is so much useful for the younger lower elementary kids, where they use all these 3 rods. The junior version is with 3 rods and a little bigger version is with the 6 rods. So the way it has worked with me in the past, that our lead teacher will have will have the big abacus kind of a thing. This is the big wooden block, and all the children have their small abacus on their desk. So as the teacher starts the class, and if they are working on the counting or on the addition skill on abacus, they will ask them to take it out and give them instruction on and show them how to do it on her big abacus, and children are working on their own abacuses. I have found it very, very effective in my class. When I was working with a group of students, and it really helped them. It was giving them a chance to interact with other children and see how have they done in these activities and on these abacus things. So counting the activities, like we have taken out these worksheets, and there are, for the information of teachers, there are n number of free math resources. And I'm going towards the end of my presentation. I have shared a few of those resources as teachers. So again, one of this activity is inspired or from the Montessori system, which you see on the screen on your left hand side, like with all those red counter beads and the flashcards. So we can use, so as you can see that we are gradually now moving from the representational stage to the abstract stage, where we are introducing the number symbols. And the biggest advantage of this stage is that we are gradually moving from one stage to the other in such a way that the child doesn't feel that he has to or she has to work from the worksheets from day one. So we can call it that concrete, semi-representational, or the semi-abstract level. Those two are the understood part, that we have to make those real life connections so that transition is smoother for the child from one part to the other. So I just showed you the abacus. Now, our next part is, we are still continuing on we are still continuing on the counting part. Ordering, counting and number concept, arranging the numbers or ordering the numbers from 1 through 10, joining and coloring the dot-to-dot worksheets with pictures from daily life. Again, how are ordinal numbers like placed, first, second, and third? What is the connection between 1, 2, and 3 and first, second, and third? So the cardinal numbers and the ordinal numbers, matching the correct number of objects in 2 columns, symbols into 2 columns. Tracking the correct number symbols on worksheets proved to be a good exercise for the children to reinforce the number sense. Now, here is one. Again, I have shared all these references with our students, with our teachers here, so that they have the access and we don't have to share them again. And Rosalyn, all the teachers are getting, participants are receiving their the handouts.
Yes, please. We'll send it to them once we are done.
Okay, okay. So now we are talking about counting and matching games as a group with the whole class. So the groups, teachers can divide the children in different groups, and then counting and matching with all these activities rather than working as a on a one-to-one basis. These activities can be distributed. Then one example I'll share. I was working with a private school in my area. There, what they had done, that they created math stations related to the counting and the number concept activities. So on one board, they have matching and counting this rainbow number tracing. Oh no, they had the math bingo game on one, making the bracelets or the necklace on the other counter. Then on the third counter or the third station, they have a worksheet where they are working on matching the correct number of objects into two columns. And yeah, so one number object and one number symbol is there, and their number of objects to the symbols they're matching. And we have to use the counting activities from our daily lives. For example, in a classroom, we can ask them, okay, how many kids are present today? How many boys are there? How many girls are there? And how many, so when we collect the notebooks for corrections or the kids are collecting their assignments, we can tell them, okay, how many kids have done the assignments so far? How many are still working on their assignments? How many children are in total in the classroom? So we are giving them the real life aspect, real life activities. And another important piece for us is to understand that we don't have to create a fear of math in children and apply it in our daily life situations so that the kids don't get that feeling that math is a subject and what is the use of studying math? Where do we apply math in our real life? Math should not remain the subject in school as such, but we have to work to make it applicable and make it more student friendly. Again, matching the object, the cards. Here still we are not using any objects. We are any number symbols, but matching the object to object cards is going on. Visual discrimination skills. Now, there is an interesting activity for Santry numbers. Montessori people use a lot of Santry activities. So that gives the sensory feeling for how the numbers are written down. And when the kids are doing the Santry activity, it helps them to retain it faster and for a longer period of time. That symbol stands for 3. Now, how do we introduce the concept of 0? This, I will share one interesting story. Last time I was doing a training workshop with some teachers in India. That was, I think, a few months back. So we came across, how do we introduce the concept of 0? So 0 means nothing. So if we talk to them about nothing, but why are we studying about nothing? Because whether it is added onto the left side or onto the right side of the number, it is helping us to increase the number's value from 10 to 100 to 1000 to 10,000. So yes, 0 means as a concept to begin with, because in my experience, I've seen that kids who are struggling with the concept of 0, when we transfer from 19 to 20 to 21 or 29 to 30 to 31, how does that change? Like 2020, then 19, we are at the number 19. How do we go on to 20? So 20 means we are adding now after 19, the number is changing to 20 because it is becoming, we are adding one more, it becomes 20. It is 2 tens. 2 tens. So 2 tens is making 20. So any suggestions from the group I would like to ask at the end, because I'm also still struggling to a little bit onto introducing the concept of 0, which is a very important aspect. Please share your ideas and thoughts as an exercise. What could be used and what have you been using in your classrooms to teach the concept of zero? Now we go on to the skip counting. Skip counting through number lines, skip counting by 2s, 4s, and 6. And there are physical timelines available, or we can create these timeline, number lines. And what the teachers have done, in my experience, I've seen some teachers using the number lines and laminating them. And then because with the lamination, what happens is we can use the whiteboard markers on them and go from one spot to the other for skip counting or for doing any other activities, and then erase it with a wet cloth or the duster. And another part is having some number lines on their scales, wooden scales or the plastic scales, number lines are there, so that these are reusable things. And we can have some of the desks have the wooden desks, or their seats have the number lines engraved or made on that, or they are sticking there on their desks. Another part is creating a human number line, when the kids can stand in the number line form one, and they have to remember their order, at what number they are standing. And this helps as they are involved in the activity by themselves, as being by standing on the number line, going from one spot to the other keeps them physically and cognitively involved in the activities. Counting backwards. What is the importance of counting backwards? Like, go back. It is a very important skill for the students to have when they are like for the times table in the division part. Counting backwards is really important for the division skill and for the subtraction skill. And subtraction, in my opinion, is one of the most difficult skills to be taught. And and sometimes the teachers don't, we as teachers, the way the what I've seen in US and in India, some of the even the good schools do not apply the mathematical concepts in the daily life situations. There is still a confusion there. Kids learn math as a subject in school, and the division, so we have to involve them physically, cognitively in their daily life and relating the math, so that kids understand math is in our daily life activities. That is the fun part of math. We don't have to create a fear of math. We don't have to create a anxiety or the anxiousness about math part. So counting backward is a very important skill for the subtraction skills. So yeah, so this skill deserves a greater emphasis in kindergarten and the first grade. So plastic locking cubes, like pulling those cubes one at a time so that the kids see that something is going away. And we have to introduce the vocabulary of math as we are talking. Counting backwards is taking away from 10 to 1. Then maybe we can start from 20 to 10, 20 to 1, and going. So this can be taught by the taking the steps backward, and counting forward is going upwards and counting backwards is coming down. Another exercise can be done on abacus. Abacus, like when we are adding the beads. Now, this here I find abacus to be an important aspect, important piece of teaching, or the very important tool for teaching the concept of zero through skip counting. Now I'm combining these two skills to teach this activity to teach two concepts. Let's start counting, reverse counting, or the back counting from the beads on abacus. Take away, if we have like 9 beads on one row, on that column, we are taking it away. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. We are taking all those things away. And then what is left at the end? there is nothing. There is a zero part. So then that becomes an integral part of our teaching, where we are incorporating two concepts through multimodal instruction, through concrete, representational, and abstract level. So building, and math is one subject which is getting built on the foundational abilities and one skill. Even if we miss one or two of these skill sets, it becomes harder and harder for the children to learn higher order math concepts. Counting backwards on the number lines, using the number squares and the grids. Let me see if I have, okay, yeah. So I find this an interesting part, the way they have kept these, they shown 1 through 12, and the kids have some bean bags lying there. This can be used for playing hopscotch, chalk art games for math, and hopping, jumping from 1 to the 2 to 3, and then understanding what comes before and after, what is the next number, and then a lot of counting activities, as well as addition, subtraction activities also can be manipulated on this kind of an arrangement, and the kids are physically engaged in this. Now, what are number bonds? Number bonds is simply creating a relationship between the two numbers to get an answer. It is a part of like part whole relationship activity. For example, what different combinations can we make to reach one answer? For example, 10 can be made with different, like 9 plus 1 is 10, 8 plus 2 is 10, 7 plus 3 is 10, 6 plus 4 is 10. So that like constancy in the quantity, that even if we arrange it in different order, the end result will be the same. For example, 10 pencils will remain 10 pencils, even if they are standing, we are putting them in a pouch or pencil case or a pouch, or if they are standing in the cup pencil holder. 10 pencils are 10 pencils. So part and whole relationship is very important for the kids, so that it builds their form constancy, as well as understanding the correlating it to the property or associative property, or I think it's the associative property of math, where no, yeah, like the numbers, we can reach to one answer by different combinations. Like 15 can be answered or calculated in different ways. 10 plus 5, 12 plus 3, 9 plus 6, 8 plus 7. By rearranging the groups of objects, we can teach with the help of concrete objects, we can create that. Let me show you a few examples here of number bonds. These can be worked on the number 10 frames, and then it helps the children to understand the concept of addition and subtraction. Like 10 is and 6 and 4 could be anything there. Yeah, so what games can we play to help the students build their pre-math and the math concepts and the numeracy skills? Hopscotch, snakes and ladders, or we call that games as snakes and ladders in India. It's called shoots and ladder in US, where you are going on the steps, it's a board game. You roll a die, you go 2 steps, you might find a ladder and you go up, rise the number. Or and if you are going up from 0 to 90, if you find a snake, the snake will bite you, and where the tail of the snake is landing on that number, you go back to that number. Card games, there are lot of board games available for the number concept. Moving for, like one of the example is shoots and ladders, sidewalk chart activities and games. So I wanted to show you an example of okay, yeah. In this part, what they have done here, they have created a pathway like this. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
So they have, yeah, on a sidewalk, they have
Yes,
created
Dr.
this,
Anupma.
yeah, okay. So on the sidewalk, they have created, I'm just showing one example here, how they have created a chalk out on the sidewalk. And this, on the next picture, this child is rolling a dice to get to those two numbers, 4 plus 4, if he gets 6 and 3, so he can go on to that, and 4 times, okay, or hopping. So they can do counting or number concept, or whatever we want to do, whatever skill we are doing. The chalk art is an important aspect or important way of incorporating the math skills. Okay, now greater than, less than. So again, we can use a lot of comparative concrete objects in creating an awareness and sensitizing the kids, and to familiarize the kids with greater than, less than, who, and again involving the kids in the classroom, who has the most number of like grouping the children in different activities, which group has the maximum number of pencils together, which group of the kids has the maximum number of beads together, or the clay coins together, whatever we want to use in that, the activity or the concrete objects, grouping them, which place is the greater than, lower than, smaller than, bigger than, what is. So quantifying, starting with the concrete objects, then the alligator game, the hungry alligator, the alligator is very hungry. The alligator will open the big mouth to get the more aspect, to get the more objects in its tummy. So I think that way I learned that way, and most of the kids are learning this way till date, when they're comparing the numbers as greater than, less than, or the equal sign also comes in. Like this one. And these rods can be used, or these actually the real rods are the wooden rods from the Montessori schools, but the teachers have created this kind of flashcards, laminated flashcards also can be created. These can be drawn on the slate, on the whiteboards also. Like greater than, less, we can use different cards to teach the greater than, less than concept. Place values, we can teach the place value concepts through the base 10 blocks. Place value maths are available from Amazon and from local resources, and we can create these. Okay, I may have to show you. Yeah, this kind of place value maths are available. Teachers can create these kind of base 10 blocks on their own. Tens and ones, tens and ones, hundreds, where at whatever level we are. And this can be used in conjunction with the abacus. Abacus becomes a concrete object. This is the representational stage. So mixing these together and gradually moving from one stage to the other. Even if we have to spend a little extra time on building the foundation, it's worth it, because the concepts learned at this stage in their lives are very, very important. And the higher order math is based on that. So there are again a few, I have added a video, we can all watch it later. There are some games available through wordwall.net, place value games and activities. So here again, I'm sharing it, the abacus, how do we make it?
Dr. Sethi, it looks like you've left the slideshow mode again.
Okay, yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. So again, here we see that the abacus pictures is there, how we are correlating it here. Tens and 3. So all these things can be used in our classrooms. Now I'm going to the operations, math operations. So what are we using? The concrete, again, emphasis is on concrete materials like beads, blocks, and base 10 blocks, number lines, number wheels, worksheets, number grids. Addition needs to be introduced as an activity of counting together. Again, the vocabulary, what vocabulary are we? Okay, let's go from one to one, like adding the concrete objects like beads, blocks of different colors, shapes, and sizes. Addition in real applied life and activities of daily living. Pencils. How many pencils do you have? How many kids is this group having? Of 3 kids, one of you have, all of you, each of you has 5 pencils. How many of you all have together? How many fruits are lying on the table? So we have got 2 bananas, 3 apples, 4 oranges. So how much fruit do we have in all? Number of pieces of the fruits. And how old are we? Who's older than me? Who's younger than me? All those things are related to addition and the real life situations also. And using a variety of language and the vocabulary to familiarize the kids with the terms associated with addition, like add, sum, plus, put together, all together, result, more, increase, and so on. Again, there is a concept of addition resource by Splash Learn, which I've added in this. We don't have that much time to show all the and share all the videos, but I've shared the links in my presentation. You can watch the links, watch the YouTube links in the handouts. Vocabulary again increased by both how many in all, some, all together, combined. So examples of that was on the concrete stage. We are moving a little bit on the addition, on the representational phase, the worksheets, these number 10 frames do we have. So all these things are really, really important for us to focus on. Worksheets with addition, exercises with color-coded okay, here, I'm going to show you like this. I think this does not need much of explanation. This is where we have done the color-coded part of ones and tens and putting an arrow on top that we are moving from left to the right direction. And in this example, I have put the shown you how some teachers work, that the symbol that they have put here is on the right hand side, because we are starting our sum from our problems or addition activities from the right hand side. So my concern here is that what happens, that why do children get confused in this part? While reading from the board or in their notebooks or books, they are going from left to right. But when it comes to doing math operations, these kids get confused that we ask them to start from the right hand side. So they get confused. So that's why, but on this side, in the actual problems, the operation sign will also be on the left hand side. But why do we keep the operation symbol on the left hand side, though we are starting the operation from the one side, from the right side? That's so to make it simpler, initially put it there and then gradually change it to the other side. Now, the procedure of addition is shown here. What do we do first? 7 and 4 is because this is with the carryover. 1 unit from the unit column, 1 to 2 like add 1 to the tens column. 11. So ones will be under ones and 10 is 1, 10 and 1. So 10 will go on the column of 8. That's the tens column. So we have to teach these concepts and the skill sets before we can do. Then next, same steps for the following styles. Again, add. So another important part is that presenting addition sums in different formats and using the manipulates to familiarize the students to grasp and master the concept and generalize it. Using the languages like what is the sum of, add the following, find the sum. I'm going to show you the next different formats of presenting the additions, like building the number squares, triangles, okay. Then vertical columns as well as the horizontal columns. Let me stop sharing this part right now, and I can share my whiteboard here and show you the differences here. Like if I add a text part here, when I talk about, okay, like addition, 1 plus 2, 1 plus 3 is equal to, okay, now the next part here is if I have to provide 1 in a different, okay, let me draw that. I think it's this, okay. 1 plus 2. Two. Let me make it bigger. So presenting the addition problems in different ways. 2 plus 4 this way, or 7 plus 5. And then vocabulary 5. So this is one way of doing presenting the problems in different formats, helps the children to understand the concept that whatever are the numbers there, if the numbers are the same, but presented in different format, the answer, we have to still do the addition, even if it's provided in the vertical format or the horizontal format. So presenting the problems in vertical and horizontal arrangements, from where to start the sums, enforce the habit of working from right to left and starting from bottom right. Use the Q mark work cards or two rulers at the right angles from the right side top. So worksheets with completing the addition figures, finding the missing numbers, as I showed you. Where were my, yes, this type of different formats. Addition triangles, addition squares. So these are again examples of the different forms of presentation of the math problems, addition problems. Now we come to the subtraction part. To subtract means to take away from a group of number of things. When we subtract, the number of things in the group reduces or becomes less. Subtraction is the inverse of addition. Every addition problem can be rewritten as a subtraction problem also. So numerous subtraction facts may be learned by using one strategy, and every fact could be addition reflex rule. For example, 4 plus 6 is 10. So 10 minus 6 would be 4. So we have to, and we can incorporate these kind of activities in the daily life activities or through concrete. For example, if we are looking at 8 objects, there could be a combination of 3 plus 5. And then if we group them, sort them, put them together, they're again 8. 3 pencils and 5 pencils make 8. Even if I make it 4 plus 4 as in the number bonds, the answer is same. So we have to apply that apply that parameter or the ability learned to build the next skill or the ability. Keep the specific number of objects in front of the child and take away a few of them, and then ask the child to count the remaining objects. Then the child can keep back the taken away objects and see how the original number comes back. Familiarizing the students with the other terms, with the terms associated with the concept of subtraction. Minus, finding the difference, less, few, subtract. So the kids have to learn all these terminologies also. Let's subtract. Here are some examples how the kids can be taught for the work through worksheets, through objects. These, I like this idea of the buttons when we are doing the subtraction part, especially addition as well as subtraction. Again, number lines can be used to further reinforce the concept of subtraction. Going back, counting backward is coming here again. Worksheets with subtraction sums presented in the pictorial form, like these number lines, pictorial forms. Worksheets with subtraction sum presented in different forms like vertical as well as horizontal. Use of number grids, subtraction chart, like 9, 1, 10 minus 1 is 9, 8 minus 1 is 7, 6 minus 1 is 5, 6 minus. So calculating these, all these things, using these things are really, really helpful in our classroom environments, and especially the children with learning disabilities. Times table. Times table supply a readily available fund of answers to problems at the basic level. So the initial level of addition lays the foundation for the times table. So times table are again a place where kids get challenge, kids face a lot, big challenges there. So we can introduce the multiplication facts or the timetable facts as the repeated addition to ease out the addition part. Like it's a repetitive or continuous addition, using the beads or other concrete objects from the immediate environment to show the different groupings of 2s, 3s, and 4s. Why did we do the classification and grouping initially? Because it helps in classifying and numbers into the times table also. So now these groups can, now we are talking, initially we are doing with the concrete objects, then we are going to the representational stage of the symbols, making the groups of 2s, 4s, or 6s on the in their notebooks. For example, this is I like this idea of the egg cartons where the children have of these egg cases or
Hello, Dr. Sethi.
yeah, again.
So we are nearing our 1.5 hour mark. So
Okay.
this is just heads up so that you can round up.
Okay.
And then we can take some questions.
Great. So again, it's the times table concepts of using the egg case cartons, unicubes, activities, skip counting, again, 2s, counting by 2s, 4s, 6s, and 8s using the number lines, skip counting on 10 frames to incorporate, to investigate and get more practice and stimulation on the for the times table. Again, the multiplication facts practice. Again, these are so multiplication grids can be used. Again, after the times table, we can go to the multiplication. So I will add one line here, one that using the concrete manipulatives, again, using the vocabulary product times product, so multiples, products, multiplication, all those things have to be introduced. Find the product of, multiply x with y. So division. Division starts as a simple logical process of sharing, but it develops into the number of people and what a number of people perceive as an almost incomprehensible mixture of all the previously taught math concepts. So it's one of the concepts which involves addition, subtraction, as well as multiplication. So we can start this activity or the teaching of division by creating the groups of children or dividing the objects, anything in the classroom situation, and relating it to the real life situations. Explaining the process of division with the help of concrete objects like beads, counters, marble sticks, and dividing each in the equal quantity. Sharing games can be played in the classroom. Familiarizing the students with terms related to the process of division like share, divide, dividend, divisor, remainder, quotient, and the symbols of division also are very different, because sometimes we use 18 divided by 3, and sometimes we are putting those line marks. Okay, I'm just going to show you a few more pictures here. Yeah, so this is again confusing too. So we have to give the vocabulary like dividend, divisor, quotient. So this part has some information towards the end. Oh, again, let me give you this bucks. For the problem solving part, I have given the references for the problem solving skills also, problems, and then box the like one strategy I want to share for the simple problem solving skill, that box the question and rephrase as a statement, underline the important vocabulary, circle the numbers, knocks out the unnecessary information, and state the operation and solve the problem. So the acronym stands for the box. And here towards the end are a lot of resources, and I will keep on adding the resources on this section and presentation so that all our participants keep on getting this information. Thank you for being the patient listeners.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sethi. You always are awesome. You always deliver immeasurable amount of knowledge to us that we cannot, in fact, quantify, irrespective of how much you give us every day. I think right about now, we should be taking some questions from people that have any questions. So guys, if you have any questions, just indicate in the chat section or just raise your hand so I can call you or mute yourself and then you can ask your question. So the question and answer time is open. I'd like for people to show or raise your hand. Let me see if you have any question. Or if you have any comments at all, you can also raise your hand. We'll call you to unmute and then you can ask your question. Maybell, you can unmute yourself and then ask your question. Maybell Edu Opoku, you can unmute yourself now and then ask your question.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to her. In fact, there are a lot of things that I was doing in the class and it was like I wasn't understanding myself what I was doing. But due to what he has explained and I guess giving us all the breakdowns, especially the numeracy section, I'm really, really grateful because of the some work that I was teaching the children. I wasn't knowing how to go about it, but I've now really received the understanding. And
so yeah, can is that
now seeing how to go about it? I really thank you. I'm grateful.
So I'm glad it is helpful. Some of the strategies you can are there any strategies you can apply straight away to the classroom situation, or you might have to do the presentation some preparation work for that? Mabel?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so I want to ask a curious question to the participants here and our team members, that what is the scope for us to create some resources for teaching math based on the resources, the low priced or the low cost resources in our community, so that we can initiate a project with a handful of teachers, and which Africa Dyslexia Organization would be grateful to or would be looking forward to do some R&D, the research and development, and start with the help of inclusive school teachers to get into creating some math labs, resource centers, or math teaching kits. That is my intention. Do you agree, Rosalind, for that part?
Hey, Rose, I think this one goes out to you. I think yes, it's. Hello.
I'm having a challenge with my net, so I missed that part. Dr. Sethi, can you please repeat what you were asking me?
Yeah, so Rosalind, my intention is that, my concern that can we come up with an idea, because this is a platform where we are talking to teachers and they are working at the grassroots level in the schools here. Is there a way we can come up with a team or with some idea that if some of the people attending this the session today with us, that if they are interested, we can make a core team under Africa Dyslexia Organization to start off some brainstorming and ultimately leading to creating and understanding the importance of the math, the teaching of math, and then creating the math small kits, beginning from the pre-readiness skills of math and moving up from there.
Yes, sure, we can do that. So with all the suggestions that have been coming up ever since we started the session since March, I have noted them down. I was hoping that in July, then after that, we can sit down and review and invite all interested stakeholders who are interested in different aspects or whatever topic or area of focus. Then
your voice is breaking up. Yeah. No.
So I think what
I think there has been a little challenge for the internet with them. So what we can do, yeah, so we'll work on, I think I got the gist of it.
Okay, so
yeah.
What I was trying to say is, whether since March, I've noted them down, and anyone who have expressed any interest, I have
it's a fantastic
down.
idea.
Okay, so let's move ahead. We will be working on that part. As Rosalind has mentioned, that after our July sessions, we are going to talk about it and see how all the stakeholders can get involved into this, and we'll come up with different project ideas to work on this skill. And I see one question in the chat box coming again, that emphasis on the concept of zero, which causes a lot of confusion to explain to the kids. Yes, I agree. I'm also looking for some good suggestions. I'm also slightly confused how to give that concept of zero. The only thought that comes to my mind is showing them concrete aspect of zero when we go to from 9 to 10 or below 1, what comes. So zero is there. Zero is the starting point. That I'm confused on that part myself. I have to do and dig in and do some research for how to teach the concept of zero. There I'm stuck a little bit. If some of the teachers have some good suggestions, we would be glad to hear. Do we have some suggestions for the concept of zero? I think Martha is raising her hand.
Yes, thanks very much, Sethi. For my personal experience, I taught concept of zero by placing counters, 10 counters on a row. So I asked them to count backwards.
Okay.
So they take 10 out, they take 9, gradually they get to 1 and they take it off. So I tell them, so what have you gotten? Have you gotten any counters there? they will say no. So I just tell them, okay, so that means you have nothing, and you can write that with the symbol 0.
So like backward counting by giving them the counters from 10 counters and going back to 1, and then asking them to pull out any all those things, and then what is left is 0 there.
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then maybe reinforcing it with the idea of beading, making the bracelets. Bracelets, and then putting 10 to 15 and then going backward. I think that, and using the abacus beads or whatever. But I think this is one strategy which can be adapted, modified, and used and reused again and again, so that till the child gets, or till the student gets the hang of it. Yes, Martha?
Okay, so we would like to take more questions if there are. If Martha, do you still want to talk? So you can just unmute yourself and speak.
Oh, please, it's okay. I had to take my hands down, that's why.
Oh, okay. That's fine. That's fine. So we are welcoming in about 3 more questions, and then we can go ahead and end today's session. So I'll just open the opportunity for 3 more people to ask 3 more questions, and then we'll carry on with the rest of the event for today.
Yeah, so I see one question, Ray, in the chat section about, like, can the games be used to teach basic 6 learners? So I want to understand, what are the basic 6 learners, the grade 6?
Yes, that's grade 6 over here in Ghana.
Yes. So base 6, the grade 6 children can also be taught through some games and activities. Why not? But we add that because I'm not very much familiar with the curriculum there. So based on the curriculum, we can create customized games, outdoor games and activities, indoor games and activities, flashcard games to based on the skills what are being taught in the classroom. Yes. Improvise. Okay, there is another suggestion by Wahab Abubakari on the chat. Improvisation of learning materials, especially the use of available local resources within the reach of teachers, is a good idea. This will help prevent complaints by teachers of the lack of learning materials to start learners with learning disabilities. Yep. So
that is completely true. Yes,
yeah.
Dr. Sethi, you were about to say something.
No, so another thing is that I would appreciate if some teachers who are working in the inclusive classrooms can share what they are using in their classroom and what are some locally available resources in Ghana, so that we get some ideas to create our own materials and what the teachers have been using it in their own experiences.
That's a great idea. I think that we have quite a number of teachers online tonight, and it will be fantastic to hear from some of them what some of the local resources they've been using to teach learning disabilities in their classrooms. Also, I think suggestions are still welcome, if not tonight, in our emails on the Telegram group or on the WhatsApp, on our various WhatsApp channels. You can just send suggestions across, so that during our July stakeholder conversations, we can consider all these things and some of all the suggestions that are coming up. And we can action them out.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'd like to take one last question before we say good night to Dr. Sethi. Actually, it's way past midnight at where Dr. Sethi is, and we are keeping her from her sleep. So one final question, and then we can go ahead.
There is one very interesting question in the chat box here, that what happens when the kids have been forced to use their right hand while he is a left by nature? Does it affect their orientation skills? I would say yes, there is no doubt. And I'm a living example of that part. I'm a living example of that part. By nature, I am a left-handed person, and I was forced to change my from left hand to right hand for writing part, and for the other things also. I changed from left hand to right hand for writing, but till date, I am ambidextrous. I can use my left hand and right hand for most of the activities except for writing right now. For cooking, cleaning, my grip is very good with the left hand, not with the right hand. And I am not sure if there is that thing happened, but the research is showing that the changing of the we don't have to force the children to change their natural hand dominance and the power dominance because of the fact that it interferes in their mixed dominance, the dominance, which is it does interfere in the spatial orientation skills. Yes.
Great one, Dr. Sethi. I think there are two more comments in the comment section. And one question that says, what's the impact or what's the effect of the games that are used to teach learning disabilities?
So I would say the use of the games are effective for the children to retain the concepts in their minds for a longer time. If they learn it through games, if they're just doing it through rote or through the process method, they will do it. But if we involve some games in teaching math, it retains for a very long time and they enjoy working through games rather than just sitting and working by rote or learning by doing. Keeping games help them to keep their engagement at a higher rate and faster learning as well as for a longer period of time. Do we have some more questions?
I think they are pretty much comments. I'll read them out and then.
I think we have.
So Dr. Pelidu is saying. Hello, Rosa. Are you speaking?
I think Jerome is trying to raise his hand.
Okay, Jerome, just go ahead and unmute yourself. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question. Hello, Jerome. Hello.
Hello. So.
Yes, Jerome, you can go ahead. Go ahead now.
Yes, I catch you very well. I would like to give a good congratulation to Dr. Sethi for his great presentation. It was very, very important to understand or to follow it about organization, African organization, dyslexia. Question is only my suggestion from him. So I think that to hear something or to write, those are the two things which are very different from. So I would like to ask him to send us that file via PDF in order to read more. It was only my suggestion And I wish you good night.
Jerome, your voice is breaking. Can you please put your question in the chat?
Jerome, kindly please put your question or suggestion in the chat box so Dr. Sethi can read it out.
Yes, I tell you, yes. I was talking about to send us the file in order to understand more, but to understand and to write, those are the two things which are very
Jerome,
important.
you will be getting the slides, you will be getting the presentation. Yes.
Yes. Thank you also for a good presentation. And also good night for everyone.
Okay, thank you, Jerome. Thank you very much. That has been very well received. So Dr. Pele Dunyako is saying that awareness also of the cognitive maturation stage of the child is important so that the child is labeled appropriately. Example, if maturation of abstract thinking is not yet attained, I think the rest then can just wait. Wahab Abubakari is saying, please, I'd like to know how, okay, that has been answered already. And Emmanuel Edem Danso is also saying, forcing a child to change hand in writing has psychological implications on the child. Okay, I think that we are fully caught up with all the conversations on the chat box. So guys, we would like to say a very thank you for joining us tonight. But to Dr. Sethi, our Director of Training, you are just incredibly awesome. I can't just begin to understand how come it's past midnight, but you are online with us and giving us all these resources that ordinarily would have cost us a lot of dollars to acquire. We are truly grateful, and we cannot thank you enough.
Thank you so much. I would love to get more and more associated, and we will be doing one more session. I think we have July session, and after that, we are planning to have one more additional session, which I was supposed to be covering today, but in this time frame, we couldn't have done that. The justice.
Exactly.
So we are going to cover the perceptual motor skills and the cognitive skills aspect, a little bit more emphasis. In one of the sessions, we will be sharing the details when would we want to have that. And we will look forward for all the participants from here for that one also.
Thank you very much. We are so very grateful. We wouldn't like to take too much of your time. And so from me, Reynolds, and all of us at African Dyslexia Organization, would like to say thank you to everyone, each and every participant that joined us tonight. We are grateful for your time, and we don't take it lightly. We hope to see you again when the next dates are duly announced. If you have any suggestion, question, comment, or any complaint, I mean, that is allowed. You can go ahead and send us an email, or you can just drop it in our Telegram group or the Telegram channel that we've created, and it will be quickly addressed. Thank you very much. Thank you to our founder and director as well, Lady Rosa. You are amazing. If you haven't heard it in the past couple of days, you are just amazing. Thank you for putting all this together, and we are very grateful. So good night, everybody, and hope to see you on the next training session. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.